Today's speaker is Christian Boyce, and what he's going to be talking about is styles. And I mentioned this earlier, and before we started the meeting, I think this is a fascinating subject and probably one of those little hidden gems that people, I'm guessing, don't take advantage of. And it's really can make your documents, everything from a resume to a book to even a newsletter. If you do a newsletter, anything like that, styles can really help them become easier to make, and it makes them look better. If you want to change a font, it just changes the font for a specific style, so you don't have to go and change it on 20 pages or anything like that. So that's what Christian is going to talk about. And as with that, it's all yours, Christian.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with a little presentation, and then we're gonna just do it live so I can make mistakes and you can see how I deal with mistakes. So let's start. I'm going to share my screen, run through a couple of slides to sort of introduce the topic, and then we'll actually do the work. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share this screen and ready, go. Okay, so as Dan was saying, what we're talking about today is we're talking about styles, and it's kind of part one of looking at the format inspector in three of our programs we use a lot: Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. So let's just run through this real quick here. So 3 Mac apps, you get 3 for 1 today. First one is Pages. We're going to talk about Pages, and we're going to talk about Numbers, and we're going to talk about Keynote. These are all free. You can get these from the App Store. Slightly different versions for older Macs, but what I'm showing you today is going to work for any version. So those 3 apps, Pages, which of course is for writing, Numbers for spreadsheet things, and Keynote for presentations, even though they're totally different apps, they have a lot of things in common. And we're going to talk about one of those things that they have in common today, and that is this thing called styles. Okay, now styles, when I say styles, I don't mean just bold or italic or blue. We're talking about something bigger than that. So why do we want to learn about styles? Well, because if you get good at this, you will get more stuff done in less time, have more fun doing it, and you'll end up with better documents anyway. So who doesn't want to do more in less time and have more fun? Okay, so that's what we want to learn about today. So let's do it. Now, there's a couple of different styles that we're talking about today. There's graphic styles and there's text styles. Okay, so graphic styles would be for things like circles and boxes and arrows and that sort of thing, lines, even for pictures. And then there's also text styles over here. So I'm just going to show you real quick how it looks. You've probably seen these things on the right-hand side of Keynote and Pages and Numbers. So now let's actually do it. Okay, so we're going to end that part of the talk. Now we're going to do everything live. So supposing you had made this presentation, and as you can see down the left-hand side here, we've got our slides. And what I'm going to show you now with Keynote is going to transfer over to Pages. So even if you're not a Keynote user, pay attention to this. So you can see I have all these slides over here on the left. They're just little thumbnails there, but you can see they all have blue text. And let's say you decide, I don't want it to be blue, I want it to be red. Okay, well, when you're dealing with Keynote and you click on a text box, you will see over here on the right what kind of text box it is. This is telling us this box is formatted with something called the statement style. There's a lot of styles here. If I click here, I can see all these different kinds of text styles. And with a style, you include a whole lot of stuff. So not just the font, but let's say I picked this one here. We've got a font, we've got a color, we've got that it's justified. And so it's really kind of a shortcut to do a whole bunch of things. All of the things that are over here on the right can be saved in a style. So you get a very consistent document if you're making all your text have all of these things and you're choosing them by using this styles palette. But so here's the nice thing about this. If I decide I want to make this one a different color, I mean, we're probably familiar with changing the colors of things, but this is the next step. When I do this, I do not want to have to go to the next slide and click on this one and then make that one red. No. What I want to do is I want it all to just sort of ripple through the whole document. So I made this red, and you notice it's a little hard to see, but there's a tiny little asterisk here and a big blue update button next to it. So what they mean by this is, first of all, the asterisk means that this isn't just the original statement style. This is statement plus. Okay, they could have put a plus there, but they use an asterisk. And the update button means if I click that button, it's going to change the statement style to look like the thing that I'm clicked on here. So in other words, it's going to make statement be red. Well, if we look at these other boxes, this was statement. You see, it says statement up here. And this one here says statement here. So if I change statement to be red, those things should just all also turn red. So here I go. I'm going to hit the update button. And you can see they turned red in the thumbnails here down the left-hand side. If you don't believe me, I can click on the slides. Okay, so there you go. So really quickly, I was able to change all my slides all the way through. Now, down at the bottom here, I had some tiny little text here, and this was something called the caption text. And I kind of snuck something onto each slide. I know it's very, very small, but I'm going to change it now. I don't want to have to go through each slide and change it. I'm just going to change it on one. So I'm going to change caption style to look really different. I'm going to make it be this Arial black, and I'm going to make it be a hot pink. And now I'm going to update the style. And you can see that on each one of my slides where I used that style, it's changed. So that's really, really nice. Okay, so that's a text style. But let's see what happens with a graphic style. So I'm going to insert here a shape. You got this nice shapes palette, and I'm going to put in a circle like this. And on this circle, I'm going to I'll put a page number in here. Let's say this is page 2. And I'm going to run the text up here, make it big, like this. And I'm going to look at this thing here, and I see that there are styles up here at the top. I can click where it says style, and I can see there's different looks here. So I can click on this one. So that's black text on green, black text on blue, white text on black, white text on red. Well, I kind of like this. I kind of like this green color, but I want to have a line around it. So I'm going to what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give myself a border, a little line, and I'm going to have it be. We're going to need a color for that. So let's pick a color. Let's make this blue. So that looks a little better. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see better too. Let's do this. Let's do. We can find there's. So here's what we're doing with, and I'm going to make that text big, like I said before. Whoops, I made the line big. Sorry, my mistake. In the text section, we're going to make. Told you I make a mistake. We'll make this like this, and we'll make it. Why don't we make it instead of black? Let's see how it looks being white. Okay, so this is what I like. Okay, and I'm gonna with this thing here. You can see there's a whole bunch of things you can do with a control click, but one of the things you can't do is you can't make a style out of it. But I can over here hit this plus. So you see these are styles. The first set of styles are colors and outlines and things that that Apple thinks you might want. But if you hit this arrow to the right, you can add your own style. So I'm gonna hit this plus here. And now they've made, in fact, you see sort of a miniature of what I have down here. I've got it here. So it's got a blue border, and it's got white text, and it's got a green fill. Okay, so now suppose I take this shape here, and I'm going to copy this. I want to put this on subsequent slides just so I have a slide number. So I'm just going to do copy and paste, and we'll change that one. That'll be a 3. And I'll go to the next slide. And I know you know how to do paste with the Command V, but I'm going to do it like this so you can see me doing it. Sometimes when you do keyboard shortcuts in a talk like this, it just looks like magic. Stuff is just appearing. So now you notice I didn't have to copy this over and over, right? Because you don't, because the copying still remembers. What are we up to? This is this is supposed to be 4, right? That's 4, and this one's going to be 5. That's as far as I'm going to go. Okay, so now we have all these slides with with these page numbers on them, and that's nice. But now we change our mind, and this is where if you don't know how to use styles, you think, wow, I got to change this 5 times. So what do? You don't change it because it's too much work. But with styles, because I clicked on this and I defined a style over here, all of these objects know that they are sort of a family. They're all kind of like rubber stamped, even though they have different numbers in them, they're sort of the same thing. So now I can change the fill on one of them. I'll go like this. Maybe we'll change the border and make it quite a bit thicker. Okay. And now I want all of them down this entire presentation. Let's say it's got 50 slides. Then you really wouldn't want to do this. But with styles, it's simple. Now remember that this thing was originally just like this green and blue thing up here. If I hold the control key down and I click, or for you right-click people, you just do a right-click, I can redefine that style based on what I've got selected. Okay, so here I go. And now you get this really nice box that says, whoa, whoa, whoa. You've got other objects using this style. Do you want to update them? The answer is yes. Okay, we do. So all of these things that are green with a blue border are going to turn into pink with a thicker blue border. So here we go. And so you can see they did change. There they are. So what we get here is easy editing, very consistent document, and it gives you the ability to play around without thinking about how much work it's going to be. Okay, and also I don't have to, even if I'm really good at this, I'm way faster this way. So let me show you how this works in Pages, and then maybe we'll break for a question or two. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to Pages. So here I have a Pages document. Boy, is this a boring document. I'm going to show you just how boring this is. This document is actually instructions for your 1040 IRS tax form. Okay, so I just copied this from the IRS website, and it is boring, and it even looks boring, right? So we want to make this pretty. So when I look at this document, I can see all of this text. First of all, I'm going to change the font for everything. So I'm going to select everything in one quick move here. And I'm just going to change the font that's this Helvetica, and I'm going to change it to something that's a little easier for us to read, which to me is going to be, I'm going to make it Baskerville. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, and now you see, just like we saw when I was doing this in Keynote, we see this palette up here, and body now has a asterisk, and it's got an update button. This means that again, this isn't the original body style that that Pages gave us. It's body and some local changes by me. We're going to update this, and so now if I were to ever type another paragraph, it would look just like these paragraphs, just a nice Baskerville 13-point left justified. But we have a lot of other stuff in here that's not going to be body, like this thing up here where it says single. This is kind of a heading of some sort. So I'm going to click over here and see if I have some headings. So I'm going to, this is going to be a big heading. And if I picked this one that says heading 2, it's going to be a little smaller. And heading 3 is smaller yet. I think this is probably a heading 2, okay? Did you notice, by the way, when I did heading 3, they've defined it to have a line above it. Very nice, very stylish. And actually, because of that, I think I'm gonna go with heading 3. So now I'm gonna click here in married filing separately. If single was a heading 3, then this should be a heading 3 too. So I just have to click. I don't have to do this. This is what slows you down, is to think you have to highlight the whole thing. You just click anywhere in this paragraph, and I'm going to assign that to be heading 3. And you see it's looking better already. So let's come down here to head a household. I see this here. I've clicked somewhere down here. You know, if I double click a word, that's good enough. Even just clicking in the word would have been good enough. But you can see how I'm making this a whole lot prettier. Now here we have a section of, it says test 1 and test 2. These are probably some sort of bullet points, and I'm going to see if we have a style there for us. I'm going to say, well, it turns out we don't have one, so I'm going to make one. Okay. So will I need this again? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna make myself some bullet points. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some formatting by hand, right? So I'm going to have a little bit of space before these things. So I'm gonna do this on the in the palette over here on the right. So I'm setting it up like that. I'm going to let's see, what else should I do to make that look nice? I think I'll just make it bold just for fun so we can see this, okay? And I'll leave it at that. And here, instead of changing body text, which would change the whole document, I'm gonna make a new style that's my sort of bold, you know, and I'll even give it bullets. Let's put some bullets on it there. So this will be my bold bullet style. So I'm gonna click here and I'm going to hit this plus and make myself a new style, which I'm going to call bold bullets. So now anytime that I want to make some text look like that, all I have to do is click on it and apply my style. So it looks like here's some stuff that could use bold bullets. No, here's some stuff. It's just the same 1, 2, 3 like this. So I'll click here. And see, by dragging through part of number 1 and part of number 2, I've really indicated that I do care about just these 2 paragraphs. And so here, I'm going to give it bold bullets, and there it is. Okay. So, except for I don't think I got my bullets. Well, we'll just look the other way there. All right. But all right, let's go. Let's do this one. Name and address. We're going to make this a heading 2, and here I'm going to make another heading 2. Okay, did I make this there like this? Assign a style like that. Okay, so now what I've got then is a document that was easy to format because I could do it in a hurry. Let's make this one that says caution. We'll make this a heading like this. There. So now you probably aren't going to be working this way with a document where you've got a whole bunch of text and you go back and fix it later. Usually what you're doing is you're working with stuff on the fly, that you're writing a new document and you want to format it as you go. And so when you do that, let's make a new document. I'll just make a nice plain document. You can see right off the bat, they think you're typing in the body style. You see it up here. It says body. So supposing though this is going to be a book, chapter 1, and now we begin, blah, blah. Okay, and now let's say down here I want to have chapter 2. And I want, anytime I see chapter 2 or a chapter, I want it to be formatted the right way. Well, what I would do in real life is we would do it like this. We'd start writing and I'd say, okay, if I could type and if we could zoom in. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. There's a title. Okay, so this would be chapter 1. Now after chapter 1, I'm gonna start typing regular stuff. Okay, this is my first chapter. Okay, there, my first chapter. And you would type, blah, 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 right? Here you go. And then eventually you're gonna get to chapter 2. When you get to chapter 2, you can just say, all right, this is chapter 2. And then rather than go through here and make it bold and then whatever it is, you just come here and you say, that's a title. Now, the sort of the magic is when you hit return, it switches back to body. It knows that you want to keep going in body. So that's actually something you can set up in the style. So if you were to write a book, it's a lot more fun to write your book and have it look like a book as you're writing it. If you just write it plain and then go back and format it later, it never really feels like a book, and it doesn't. It's not as inspiring as when you see it taking shape like this. All right, so now what I want to show you is how you put a picture in here, and when you put a picture in, how you define a style for that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to insert a picture. So you have this nice insert menu here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to choose a picture that I've stashed somewhere. Here's a picture. And now I know what picture this is. You wouldn't know, but see, in a view like this, before I say insert, if I want to make sure I get the right one, I can click on it and I can press the space bar and you can see what the picture is. So if that wasn't the right picture, you could just pick something else and hit the space bar and see what that was, okay? So I wanted this one, so we'll take this, click insert, and here's this picture. Well, it's too big, so I'm gonna shrink this guy down. And you see it's got text wrap on it, so the text is wrapping around, which is nice. But I want to apply a little bit of a style to it. And what I want to do is over here on the right, you see all kinds of options. And if I click on these, you'll see what they do. This one's got a reflection. This one's got a sort of a shadow and glow. This one's got just a border. This one here has a nice thin border and then a shadow. And this one has the old style corners peeling up from a photo album. So I'm going to do that one right now. And then I'm going to go make insert another picture a little later. Okay, so I'll come down here somewhere and let's go to insert, and I'll pick another picture. And I'll use my spacebar trick again to see if that's the right one, and it is. And so this picture I'm going to shrink also. And I'm also going to give it that same curvy border style here with the peeling up thing. And then I'm going to just do one more down here somewhere. Okay, so here we go. So whatever that one is, we'll put that in there. I'll shrink it a little bit and we'll put on this style. So at the moment, we have 3 pictures in here and they all have this curvy picture frame kind of style. And when you click on one of these, you can see what all the settings are. If I click in the text, I see what the settings are for the text. These are the styles for the text. If I click on the picture, I see the styles for the picture. Now, I'm going to change something about this picture. I'm going to say, I'm going to make the, instead of the picture frame be like this, I'm going to make it be a line. No, you know what? I'm going to do it just like this. I'll choose it here. Let's make it look like old time photo album like this. So this one's been changed. And of course, the other ones have not been changed because I have not told Pages to redefine this style. But here I go. I'm going to control click on the style it used to be and redefine it. And so now we get that box like we did before that says there are other objects that use this style. Do you want to update them? And the answer is yes. So now if I scroll down here, don't be surprised, it's got that style. And here it's got that style. So it's quite easy then for us to to change the look of our document, and just imagine a much longer document. And it's really easy to do. I'm going to do one more kind of graphic element here. Let's put in a shape. I'm going to put in an arrow. Was that a question coming up there, Sheeta?
Yes, this question from me, yes.
Okay, let me do the arrow and then I'll come back to the question. So here's this arrow. I want to be able to point things out. I'm going to make this arrow have black with a green line, a bright green line like this around it. And I'll make it a little bit bigger so we can see it better. But there you go. This is the arrow I want. Okay, I like it like this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to save that style. This is my black fill with green border style. So if I added another shape, say I put a circle in here like this, and I assign that style, I get that. And I'll just do one more. Let's put in this guy here. Doesn't matter what this is. The point is that it's going to have that same style. So now 3 things with this green and black style. If I change my mind and I say, you know what, I want this thing to have less of a border, so I'll run it down, and I want the inside to be blue and not black. Okay, like this. Now what do? Everybody knows what I do. I leave this thing selected, hold down the control key, click on this style so I get the menu. See, without the control key, you're not gonna get the menu. And I redefine that style from this selection. So here we go. And of course we get the box that says it's gonna change things. I say yes, and there they all are changed. Okay, it's question time.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I apologize for taking cuts, but I gotta ask this question first. When you change the picture frame from the snapshot look to the little corner edges,
yes,
did you override that existing snapshot style?
I did.
So
yes.
All right, so by doing that, is it gone now from this document?
Yes, it could come back, because I could click in here. Like if I take this picture here and I want to put it back, I can click on this little pop-up and I say, well, I like
I see it.
this one here, I think. There it is.
Okay.
And then I can use the scale to make it curve the way I want it. I can change the opacity, and then I can redefine that. So here I go. I'm going to hold down the control key, click up here again, and redefine. And now our pictures have all changed back.
Okay,
now,
good.
in practice, what people typically do is they think, okay, I'm going to put a square on this, and I'm going to they think, oh, this is all I get. I get these six colors. Well, these are fun, but this really isn't saving you a lot of time unless, see, these are not really shortcuts. These are saying, hey, this black box here it's connected to this black box up here. So if I change it, it changes everywhere. So these are not just shortcuts. This is sort of, it's not well described by this palette, but these are sort of like rubber stamps, where the part over here is the stamp, and you load it up with ink, and then you come out here and you go stamp, stamp, stamp. You might have noticed, though, what's kind of cool is you can have different kinds of shapes. Like here's a rounded corner rectangle, and I'll just do another one that's a circle. And all of these things, it can still have the same style, but if I change one of them, let's give it a line again, and let's make it, if you can see it's green, I'll make this a little bit bigger, and then I can redefine this style. It redefines it and changes all of these things, even though they were different kinds of objects. You got it? So it's really, really quick. So the idea is, in real life, what you do when you're not doing demos, what you do is you think about your document and what kind of elements do you have that are repetitive, that should look the same on in every instance. So if it's a book, chapter titles should always look the same. If you have quotes in them where it's italicized and indented, those should all look the same. If there's body text, well, every body text paragraph should look the same. And if there's footnotes, the footnotes should all look the same. So you can think about your document like that. Now, if it's a graphic document where you're making, like, say, a flyer, you may have different arrows and lines and you want those all to look the same. And yes, you can do this all by hand, but if you do it this way, you have this flexibility of changing it in an instant. Like here, I could say, I don't like this green with green around black. I want it to be green around orange. And then here I go. I just control click and redefine the style, and then they're all changed. So, here when they're all in one place, I could have just selected all and done it. But imagine a long document. And if you've ever had to edit a long document, you're always worried that you're going to miss something. And here you don't miss stuff. Okay, so this is a more structured way to work, but it's the pro way to work, and it's better for you because it's easier. You don't make mistakes, and it gives you flexibility to change your mind later. Okay. Okay.
Okay. We have a couple.
Let's have some questions.
All right, Jerry Schultz, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Jerry?
Okay, sorry,
All right.
not used to having done mute. So my question was the graphic styles and the image styles both. Isn't there any way you can name them? I would much rather be able to name, or I would like to have names rather than only have the visual.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. It doesn't look like you can do it. I don't know. I don't know that you can't, but I know that I can't. So,
okay.
You can name the text ones. I don't think you can name the graphic ones.
Yeah,
the
just the
graphic ones I
paragraph
can't.
styles. You can't name the graphic styles. And I also would like that to happen, Jerry. So I'm with you on that. Okay, Mary, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, when you were doing the keynote part of this presentation, you showed us how you could number the slides. Would you show us how you can number pages? I kind of missed that.
You want to do it in pages?
Yes. If this is a book, you want every page numbered. And
okay, well, that's
how
easy.
you did that.
Okay, so let's pretend that this document I'm writing needs page numbers. And so as I scroll around in here, you can see me scrolling. Here's a page break, right? This is the end of a page. And as I move along here, at the bottom, as my cursor gets closer to the bottom, you see these little boxes show up. So this is the footer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click in here, and gee, they just guessed that I want to insert the page number, which I do. And so I can choose different styles here. It's a little hard to see, but this would be just put in the page number itself. Put in this would be page 4 of 6, or it could say page 4, or it could say page 4 of 6. I'm going to have it just say 4. All right. And so when I do that, let's go back up here to look. It's there in 3, it's there in 2, and it's going to be here in 1. So that's how you insert page numbers. Now, while you're at it, you're going to assign some sort of style to this. You could make this bold or whatever you want. Because it's a footer, it's going to repeat across every page anyway, so styles don't really factor in.
Okay.
But there you are. Okay, good question. And by the way, if you didn't click and get that nice pop up, you could go here where it says insert, and here's page number, page count, date and time, and this is. If I do this, they know what it is. Okay, they know it's Wednesday, and as I move through here, Wednesday. Okay, so that's how that insert business works. Okay, next question.
Can I clarify something you just said, where you just said styles don't matter when it comes to the page number?
Well, it doesn't matter as much, but go ahead. It matters a little. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, once you select the text in the footer, you get on the right-hand side, you get a formatting pane that you don't see unless you were selecting the header or the footer, where it says header footer over there.
Correct.
Okay. So you can change that look. You can make it
Sure.
a paragraph style and change it. So
You could, but you could also, in this case, I'm going to make it bold, and I'm going to make it red, and I'm going to make it big, so we can all see it. And because that's in the footer anyway, it changes on every page anyhow, because the footer is consistent across all the pages. That's why I said it didn't really matter. You didn't have to do it the styles way, because footers are like that.
okay.
So I didn't have to come up here and update it, you see. It worked everywhere.
Thank you,
But
Christian.
you are actually modifying the header and footer style. It showed over on the right-hand side that you changed the header footer style,
Well,
had the asterisk and update, just like, see?
I haven't strictly changed the style. What I've done is, because I haven't hit update, I haven't changed the style. It's showing me, the asterisk shows you that there are changes, but you haven't.
Right, but my
updated the style
point
itself.
is that this is behaving just like any other style. It's just that it happens to be a style defined for the header and footer.
Well,
So it's a style.
it is, but the point is that in a header and footer, whatever you put in the header and footer is going to be the same on every page, no matter what you do, even if the header and even if you don't even see the styles palette, it's just going to work that way. So it's slightly different. Doesn't really matter. You get the same result either way. So let's just say headers and footers are special, and then we can move along. Is there something? Any other questions? I want to show you one more thing about this. If you
Yes, we have another question. Alan, can you
Okay.
please unmute yourself and ask your question? And remember, you're hard to hear, Alan.
Hey, Rick, can you hear me now?
Barely.
Okay, I'm about as close to the microphone as I can be. Up there in the corner where you have those 4 or 6 color boxes, you replaced one with a new box. Is there any way to add an additional box rather than just replace one of the existing ones? If you
Sure.
like one of the existing ones, can you simply add an additional one? Or
Yes.
is there only room
Right
for?
right there, Alan.
This
He's
is the
showing you
place.
right
So
now.
what you do, you see these 6 boxes. What you do is you click this little arrow at the far right, and you move over, and you can hit the plus. So I can say, look, I'm going to make a style right now. I'm going to make it be. It's going to have a red border, and it's going to be it's going to be yellow, and I'm going to hit this plus, and it's going to create a style based on that. That's what this plus does. So I can go back to the original ones, or I can go back. I can use my own personal ones. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you about this before I show you one more thing after that. I look at this text, and this is still an ugly document. What I need is some space between paragraphs. Now, you probably know that if I go up to view and I say show the invisibles, you can see where the paragraph marks are. Here's someone hit return here, someone hit return here, someone hit return here. Now, the thing that the person who didn't come to NMUG today, what they would do is they would come up here and they'd hit another return, and they come down here and they'd hit another return, and they come down here and hit another return. Well, that's a slow way to go on a big, long document. So we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to undo those things. What we're going to do is we're going to click in any paragraph that's got this body style, which is basically any of them. And I'm going to say that after each paragraph, you see down here at the bottom, it says after paragraph, I'm going to have some space, okay? I'm going to give myself 12 points of space, and here's the 12 points you see. Now, I'm going to update the style. And everywhere that we've used body gets that extra space. It looks really nice. And here's where it gets really cool. I'm gonna hide those invisible characters here, so it looks a little prettier. Supposing you've got this document and you think, oh my gosh, I've got to make this fit on fewer pages, or I think the spacing is just a little too loose. So you think, I don't want 12 point, I want 10 point. Okay, good. You click in a paragraph, it's a body paragraph, and I just change this here. I make it 10, and I update it, and you see the spacing has changed just a little bit more. In fact, let's just make it a little more dramatic. I'll make it 6 point. And so you see how much space there is here. It's a full return. We're going to update the style now. And see, it still looks good. It's still got space, but I was able to change the whole document in basically a couple of clicks. I still liked it maybe with 9 points. So I'm going to do that like that. Okay. So isn't that nice? So it turns out that with your style for text, you're saving not only the way the text looks, but the spacing around the paragraph. You're also saving, by the way, whether it's centered or it's right justified or it's left justified. So if we go back to that idea of having chapter titles that all look the same, the chapters might be centered, and that would be remembered in the style. So it becomes one-click formatting, super consistent, super easy. And if this document, suppose this document needed to fit on 6 pages here. You see, it doesn't quite, right? I've got this much stuff on 7. I might do something like this. I might say, okay, I'm going to change the text here. I'm going to make this not be 13 point. I'm going to make it 12 point. Okay. And then I'm going to come up here and, no, I'm not going to quite do it like that. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to select all this text like this. And I'm going to make this, what did I say? 12, 11. I'm going to update this text. And so now it fits on 6 pages. And if I want to make it get a little bigger, I could go to 12, update it, and it looks like I still made it. I just can't make it to 13. Now, you might think, well, here's what I would do. What I would do, you might be saying, is I would just go up here and do a select all and change the font to 12 or 13 or whatever. The problem with that is some of this text wasn't supposed to be that size, right? Some of it is supposed to be bigger, like these things. So you don't really want to select all. What I want to do is select all the stuff that's body text, and that's what we did. And so now we have the ability to adjust a document to make it fit in a certain number of pages. All right, next. Okay, well.
Oh, no,
yes?
you're good. Go ahead. Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so if we're good there, let's just look at numbers. I promised numbers. Numbers is a little bit different. So here's a numbers spreadsheet, and if you were to do it from scratch, I start up numbers, I go to new, and this is what you usually get, what they call the blank spreadsheet. So I'm going to take the simplest one here, and with this spreadsheet, you see some styles, little different kinds of styles. We have table styles. So if I decided that I didn't want a gray heading row and a gray heading column, I could say, well, let's try this in blue, or I could try it in green like this, or like this. And you can see they're giving me, slightly different looks. This one, all the cells are white. This here, you've got alternating row colors, which is nice. And in fact, you see all the settings here in this palette. These are all things that you could do. But what's nice about it is if suppose I had one table up here where I'm going to put certain kind of information in, and now I want to put in another table, and I want this one to look the same way, I can do this. And so now these 2 tables have the same look. And so this is a lot of formatting that I didn't have to do. I didn't have to outline the table. I didn't have to pick the font. I didn't have to turn on the alternating row color. Didn't have to do anything. Okay, so they have those sorts of styles. And of course, if I changed my mind, I could select both of these and just apply some other style. And you don't do this as much, but you could. You also have the same object style thing. If I'm going to have an arrow pointing to some grand total here, I can say I want it to be green like this, but I could apply a border. Let's say I want to have a line that's black. And I could come over here and say, you know what, I'm going to make my own style, the green with the black border. So then if I put in more objects, like maybe another arrow, maybe pointing the other way, let's see if we can do that. If I can grab it here, here we go. Whoop, there we go. I want to make this one look like that one. I can just come over here and use my styles. This is answering the question from the gentleman a little while ago. Can I make my own style? Yeah. So there you go. Now, if I had some text in this, let's say I made a little text box to have, I want to say something. So here's something. you can take the text here. I've got text styles here too. So I'll make, see, I have all the style stuff. So what's different here is just that we have styles for the whole look of the table too. Okay, so that was this. So there you go. There's the three things that the three apps that we want to talk about. Styles. This is kind of a whirlwind, but if you didn't get it, try watching the video again and get it, because this is the one that takes you from sort of being a beginner to being sort of an advanced intermediate person. Okay, you really want to get at this.
We do have a question from Melissa. Melissa, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Christian, this is great. This is a really critical skill. I'm wondering about graphics, particularly the photos that I might add. Can they be a set size when I bring them into a document, or do I need to adjust them individually?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm going to make this a page layout document. Let's put a picture in. So when I bring the picture in, I believe it's coming in at its full size. So I'll try to scale it and see if we can do something about that. So I'm going to here's a picture. I'm going to make it be. Oh, I can pick the size. I'm going to make it 2 inches wide, and that's what I want. And besides that, we'll give it. Yeah, see, it's not going to work. I'm going to define a style. I'll define my own style like this. I'll put a border on it that looks like the picture frame, like that. And I'm going to back this off a little bit because it looks silly, but we'll do like that. And I'm going to define my style. So now I've got a style that's got a border, and we hope it's small. So now I'm going to do another one. Let's put another thing in here. If I can hit the choose. Here we go. Tension mounts. Let's pick this one because it's also vertically oriented. It's big. I'm going to hit this style here. No, still just as big. Sorry.
Well, that's something to look forward to in a future edition.
Yeah. Now you do have, you know what? I'm going to sort of maybe cheat a little bit. Let's see if we can do it like this. I'm going to make a copy of this, and do you see what I've done here? So let's do this in super slow motion. Sorry, folks, I got fancy here. I want to make another picture next to it with another picture with a different image in it. So I could do a copy and a paste, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the Option key down. I'm going to drag on this and pull off a copy. Okay, so I'm holding the Option key down, clicking and dragging away a copy. Okay, so that was kind of sneaky. That's a nice move, though. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control click here and replace the image that's in it. And now I'm going to pick, oh, they want me to go to photos. Well, this is going to be tricky. I'll take this picture of my dirty keyboard. Let's see, it fits. Okay, so that's not exactly using styles, but it's but it got you the right size. You see, so I want partial credit for that. Okay.
Yes, you get excellent credit.
Okay.
You can also go to the image tab, and it'll allow you to select an image, and you don't have to go to the photos album. Select the
let's
place.
do it like this. That's even better. That's what I wanted to do. There. So Sheeta nailed it here. We clicked on it, and then I clicked on image here instead of using the Control key like this, which didn't really quite do what I wanted. We click here, we went to this image up here, and then replace. Oh, that was smooth. Okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay, that was nice. Okay, good one.
Good teamwork.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. All is yours.
Who else? Anybody else? I had some questions that came in. Are there other questions about this?
That's what I'm looking for. There are other questions, a couple of other questions, but I really want to get into more questions about styles. So if you have another question about styles, excuse me if you did show this already, but I think there's one important thing to say. Can you, if you haven't, go to that other document that you had open that had all of the text. Show hidden characters, show invisibles.
Sure. Okay, under view. invisible. So this is showing us spaces and tabs and returns and so on.
Right. So when you clicked on the text and you said, and you changed it to like a different heading style, and you said like it automatically knows, well, it knows when to stop because of that pilcrow. That's that backward P.
Yes.
And
Okay.
that backward P tells it to stop.
Well,
Stop applying this style
yeah,
to that paragraph. Yeah.
You bring up a good point, which is, I mean, I should have made this point a whole long time ago. The styles, I know I'm gonna say something wrong here, but mostly I'm right. So those of you who know more than what I'm telling, forgive me. But basically, text styles are paragraph based. So I don't have to drag through this whole paragraph to tell it that I want it to be a body text paragraph. I just have to click anywhere in it, and it's the whole thing until you hit this pilcrow. So until you hit that paragraph mark. So the normal person thinks that they're going to have to highlight all this and then change this to some other style, like, they're going to make this a subtitle or something. That you don't have to do that. No. You click anywhere in it, and I'm just going to double click on a word so it's easy for you to see that I'm in the paragraph. And now I change that back to body, and it's just done. Now, it is paragraph based. Now, there are character styles too. That might be part 2 of our talk someday, but not today. Now, I want to show you one more thing about this, though. When you make a new document, and what you get is you get the styles that you get these styles that come out of nowhere. Where do these guys come from? Well, they are part of a template, and that is specified here to use. Which template are we going to use? Okay, now let's take a look at all the templates right now. If I do, here's a whole bunch of templates, right? I've got stationery that I use for my business. I've got, if I want to make a certificate for somebody, I've got this one. And then they've got all of these things that Apple provides. Okay, these are Apple's templates. They're nice. But basically, when you start up, you're normally going to start with some sort of a blank template. And when you do, it's going to have certain styles. Well, you could define your own styles. Let's say that I've got a style that I need one that's going to be called instructions. I type a lot of instructions for people, and I'm going to make my instructions. Let's say they're always going to be italicized, and they're going to be. I'll find some nice font here. Okay, they're going to be Baskerville, and I'm going to say my instructions in this case, they're going to be like this, and so I'm going to write it like this. I'm just writing myself a little note, and what I'm going to do is anywhere in this text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create myself a new style. Okay, this is going to be my instruction style. So I can make my own styles. And now what I'm going to do is I don't need to have any text here at all, but I've still got the style. I'm going to save this as a template, right? So this is going to be I want a custom template. And I'm going to call this my instructions template. Now, I could have had a whole bunch of styles in there. Okay, I didn't make a whole bunch. I just made one. But the point is now, if I were to start over, I go up here to say, if I say new, I'm going to get the blank one, which does not have instructions, right? But if I went up here in the preferences and I said, when I make a new document, show me the template chooser every time, I could do that. And then I could, when I say new, I could choose my instructions template, and this one has instructions in it. Okay, so everything's italic. So you get to say either that you want to see the template chooser, in which case you can choose your template with your own styles, or you could even say, every time I make a document, I'm going to make the perfect Christian Boyce document with the perfect styles in it. I'm going to save it as a template, and I'm going to say, whenever we make a new document, use my instructions one. So now every time I make a new one, without having to do much anything, I'm going to get the right styles for me. Okay, so there they are. So you can make your own template with your own styles in it, and then you'll always have them. Okay, so that's how that goes.
All right.
Okay.
Stephen Ramirez, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Do you know if all the functionality you have showed us in
Is there something
styles
else I can help with?
exist in any of the iOS?
So does styles exist in the iOS versions?
To any degree?
I don't, I really don't know. But it's always
Yes.
called styles. So if you find that feature, and it's called styles, this is it. By the way, just FYI, if you're stuck using Word, they use styles too. They work almost the same way. If you use InDesign, they use styles. They work almost the same way. Even graphic styles. But so what you learn here is going to carry over. Okay. Anything else about this? Running short on time here.
Any more questions about styles? Marty, your mic is open. You had a question?
Just a comment, all the functionality works on iOS the same way.
Oh, good. Okay, I've never tried to use styles on an iPhone, but I'm glad it works.
It's the three little dots in the upper right-hand corner.
Fantastic.
All right, Stephen, there's your answer.
There you go, Stephen.
Okay, any more questions about styles? All right, do you have more content, Christian?
No, I'm pretty much out, but I have some questions that people sent me in advance if you want them.
All right, go ahead and take care of those.
Okay, so we had a question about sharing notes with other people so that you could kind of you could collaborate and have shared lists of things.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Sure.
So that's a question on the Notes app?
Yes.
All right, well, can you hold on for a second? Jerry has a question about the Pages app, something that you were doing. Jerry Esposito, can you please unmute your mic and ask your question?
Sure, Christian, this is great. My question is, when you go into you open Pages, they offer you a lot of different pre-sized documents.
Yes.
And they don't tell you the sizes of those documents. So if you want to do an 8.5 by 11, let's just say an ad, but you want to do it 8 by 10, can you indicate that in somewhere in the preferences, or how would you do that?
Well, you can rename you can make a template of any size and name it with the dimensions in it. I mean, if I wanted to, here you see I've got some envelope templates. They're obviously not 8.5 by 11s. We've got some sideways ones that are,
Yeah, you're in. So go up, so let's just say newsletters.
Okay.
Or poster. How do I make that? Let's just say I want to make that 8 by 10.
Oh, well, that's a whole other story. When you do this, when you bring up this newsletter template, if you look at the top right here, in this palette, this is why I say secrets of the palette part 1. This is like part 2. So this is telling you the size of the document here.
Oh, all right.
So, now you know. Okay. And by the way, guess what? There's going to be styles in here all over the place. So if I look here, this is a blue heading. This is a blue heading 2. So if I decide that I don't want them to be blue, I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but best color around. But let's say I wanted to make this text be, I don't know, I'll make it a darker blue. Now let's make it something more obvious so you can see it change. I'll make it red, and I'll just update that. That just goes red. You see all the way through the document. So it's really easy when you've got a document that's been put together in a good way. Very easy to change everything in just a quick couple of clicks. Okay.
And then you could save that out as your document, Jerry, so that you could use it and pull it up later.
Right. So that could be your own template with your own name. Call it anything you want, and there you go. And if you name it wrong, it's okay. because you can always rename a template. If I call this, I'll call this the red newsletter, and you can see I've made a typo, no problem. I can control click on this and rename it. And so now I
Very-
can make this.
Now, can you make that an 8 by 10, even though I saw up in the document it said 8.5 by 11? Can
I
I
don't know,
change?
let's change the paper size, right? So we're on letter, but I'll go, let's see if I can make,
You have to go to custom, wouldn't you?
I guess I meant to make it custom, aren't I? But I don't see custom in there.
No.
Well, yeah, well, there's still a few things to learn, I guess. You think that
You actually, you can. You have to do it manually, and it's
what if I do it over here? If I go page setup like this, can I go custom? Now I can go custom. Okay, so I went over here to file, went down to page setup, and now I'm going to make a new one. I'll hit this plus, and I'm going to call this 8 by 10. And up here I'll say it's 8, and I'll say it's 10 like that. How's that?
Oh, great. Perfect. Thank you.
So now if I pick the paper, see I've got, now my 8 by 10 is here. So I had to do it over here before I could choose it over here. Okay, but now I've done it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Ah, there, I got one right.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Christy Barden, do you have a question? Please unmute yourself.
Yes, in Pages, how do I put a border around selected text?
Well, oh my gosh. You guys, let's see. Let's see if I can do this. I should be able to do it. Let's find a, okay, so here's this paragraph. I want to put a border around this, huh?
Affirmative.
Yeah, yuck. Okay, well.
I agree. Yuck. Why would you want to do that?
No, yuck, because I'm going to be stumped, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I can make borders. So, here we're used to seeing with text, we're used to seeing just this styles part with font, color, alignment, blah, blah, blah. But in this layout section, I get some other options, and one of them is borders and rules. So I'm going to put a border on this. That's at the bottom. See, that shows me at the bottom, right? Position bottom. How about all the way around? Look at me.
Whoa.
Look at me. And what's nice about that is it grows, okay? If I keep typing, the box grows as opposed to drawing the box and hoping it stays put.
You are a genius.
Okay.
I think he likes it. I think he likes it, Christian.
Yeah, well, you know what? I like it too. That's 30 years of experience coming into play today, because I've never done that before. So,
okay.
But that was, you got to know, you got to guess, okay? You got to be 30 years, you get good at guessing. And so, if you didn't even want it to be black, you want it to be red or orange, I did it. How nice.
Okay.
That's a good question. Now that I know how to do it, I might do it.
Yeah, yes.
And then you'd probably want to create a new character style out of that so it doesn't apply to the whole body.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I'm certainly not going to update that.
Yeah, yes. And use sparingly. That is
Or I should say paragraph style.
That's a design faux pas. Use sparingly.
That's a good advice.
All right. Okay, Christian, there's just one other question from this group in the chat, and let's see if I can find it again. Sue and Rob, you had a question about the spreadsheets. You did numbers, pages, and Keynote. So Sue and Rob, unmute yourself, please.
Hi, it's Rob. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I'm a treasurer on a board for our condo, and I use numbers. I don't have Microsoft Excel anymore. And yet the company that manages our property uses Excel. And I know they can get it, I think, on the web base to collaborate. But are there any secrets to just making it so it transfers flawlessly between one application and the other?
Kind of. Do you need to collaborate on it, or do you just need to share it with other people so they can see it?
Well, if I share it, so I know how to share it, because I could just export it as an Excel document or a PDF.
That's right.
But if we want to collaborate, say,
Oh, well, you can do it. You can do it online. There's an online way to do numbers. You know, people can use numbers and pages in Keynote for free, and you can do it through. Essentially, it's Google Docs. You know, in a way that you could do.
I want to clarify your question, because your question was, is there a best practice to share spreadsheets with Microsoft Excel and go back and forth with no meaningful format issues? So are you saying styles, or are you just saying the document itself? Rob?
The document itself in the form, because when I send it back and forth, you'll get substitutions, this, that, and the other, and certainly I want the equations to work and everything else. I know how to do the basics where I can share documents.
Okay. Well, what if you went to Safari like this, and you signed into iCloud like this, and you made your sheet like this? Okay, so welcome to numbers, and we want to collaborate. Okay, so other people can tie into this. They can work on this too, and so maybe you just leave it live on the internet like so, and you let them tap into it, and then of course you're all looking at the exact same thing. There's no converting, right? So you can still type in the box, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, you know, like that. And all you got to do is figure out how to do the sharing, which I will leave as an exercise for the student. But I think it's here, collaborate and share. You can add people who can come see it. Okay, they can make changes or not. You know, people you invite can make changes. Okay, so I think that might work for you. Then there is no converting. It's all done online.
I think that's a great idea. I sort of decided not to do that initially, only because I didn't think they were willing to do it. But thank you. I will try that.
Well, you know, if you just say it's basically Google Docs, which it basically is, that maybe they're used to that one. You know.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, good question.
Okay.
I like that. I'll have to do that myself.
Right. So, Christian, actually, with that, we have run out of time.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. Thank you. Great presentation. We're going to take time now to do a wrap up, but we're going to hand it over to Dan. And Dan, can you continue?
Yep. All right.
Let me stop sharing. Okay, all yours.
Thank you, Christian. That was awesome. And like I said, as you saw, styles are just fantastic. It's a little bit of work to understand them, and Christian did a great job of showing you the power behind them. And what I would recommend doing is just taking a look at some of those templates and just playing around with them. And once you get comfortable with them, it can really help make your documents look a lot nicer, as you saw, and a lot easier to manage. So thank you, Christian, for that. And everyone, if you could unmute yourself and thank him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Useful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next week, we are going to have Mitch with us, and he's going to talk about iOS 16. Now that probably most of us have it on our phones, Apple introduced over 100 new features with that, if not hundreds, if you really want to dig down to the nitty gritty. But, what are some of the, now that we've used it for a while and Mitch has used it for a while, what are some of the features that really stand out? And he's going to kind of go over iOS 16 on the iPhone, and also some of the new features with the Apple Watch, which I forgot to put on this morning. It's charging. So that is going to be next week. Again, Thank you, everyone. If you know anybody that would like to be a member, if you think that this would be helpful for anyone that you know, just have them go to nmug.com. I mentioned nmug.org, or I had it in a link earlier. It's not org, it's .com. Have them go to nmug.com and have them sign up. As you can see, these, these, you can learn a lot with these, with our weekly meetings. So if you think it could help someone, let them know. Share the wealth, as they say. With that, thank you, everyone, for your support, and we will see you next week.